Are you struggling to manage configuration files in your Webpack and Electron app? You're not alone. Today, we're diving into a common issue that many developers face when working with these technologies. I totally understand how frustrating it can be when your configuration files seem to vanish after you bundle your application. This is a common pain point for developers, especially when using Webpack with Electron. Here's the specific situation we're addressing. A user reached out asking why their JSON configuration files aren't accessible after using Webpack to package their Electron app. They mentioned that their files are stored in a data directory, but after packaging, they can only see the default files. Sound familiar? Let's explore this together. So what's happening here? When you package your Electron app with Webpack, it bundles your files into an archive, which can lead to certain directories or files being excluded. This is likely why you're not seeing your data folder in the final build. And stick around. I'll share some best practices for managing JSON configuration files in your Electron and Webpack projects that will save you time and headaches. To manage JSON configuration files in an Electron and Webpack application, the user should first ensure that the data directory is included in the Webpack build process. This can be done by modifying the Webpack configuration file. Next, the user should ensure that the JSON files are being copied to the output directory during the build process. This can be achieved by using the Copy Webpack plugin. After setting up the Webpack configuration, the user should check how they are referencing the JSON files in their code. They should use the correct path to access the files after they have been copied. Finally, the user should test the application to ensure that the JSON files are accessible and that there are no errors when reading them. This can be done by running the application and checking the console for any issues. Fun fact, did you know that Electron apps are essentially web apps running on your desktop? It's like having a mini browser just for your application. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. This user suggests that the confusion may stem from how Webpack processes content with its plugins. They explain that depending on how you require your config file, it could be embedded or loaded from the file system. For runtime parsing of a config file, they recommend reading it directly from the file system, instead of relying on Webpack to pre-pack it. Let's take a moment to review another user's answer. This alternative approach suggests leveraging Webpack's powerful dependency management. Start by installing the JSON loader to handle JSON files. Then, update your Webpack configuration to include a rule for JSON files. Next, to improve code maintainability, create an alias for your configuration folder in the Webpack config. This allows you to import JSON files more cleanly. Finally, if you're using the Electron View template, remember that there are 3 Webpack configuration files for different processes: web, main, and renderer. Here's a pro tip. Always keep your configuration files organized and consider using environment variables for sensitive data. This will make your app more secure and easier to manage. And there you have it. By following these steps, you should be able to manage your JSON configuration files effectively in your Webpack and Electron app. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe for more tips and tricks.